Hundreds of companies are saying Obamacare will raise the cost of health insurance for their workers, so they're cutting many full-time employees down to part-time. But check out what President Obama said in addressing those claims in an interview last night. Quote, "A lot of this stuff has been happening for the last year, several years, that doesn't have to do with the Affordable Care Act. In fact, premiums for the last 3 years have gone up at a slower rate than in any time in the last 50 years. So the problem that we had for a long time is that employers have found health care costs really burdensome. They've been loading up off costs on workers for a very long time." Let's bring back our panel, Bernard Whitman and Brad Lakeman. So, Bernard, is that really true, exactly what the president said? Companies are unloading the costs on the people that work for them and trying to reduce full-time to part-time workers. It has nothing to do with the Affordable Care Act?
Well, look, I think that has been happening for an awfully long time, and I think most folks in this country, 85%, are covered through their employer, have known that they are increasingly having to pay higher co-pays, higher premiums, and having coverage cut. And the entire point of Obamacare is threefold. One is to bend the cost curve, and you saw the president actually has said that this is the slowest increase we've had in premiums in 50 years. So the costs are starting to come down. Two, to get the uninsured insured, and people are going to start being able to buy insurance that otherwise wouldn't have been able to, oftentimes at costs that are half that available in the general marketplace. That's the case in New York. And three is to raise the quality of care, and that's already being done with over 105 million people getting access to preventive care, which we know can save lives, and people not being excluded because they had pre-existing conditions and no lifetime and annual cap. So it is working. It's going to take some time.
But I'm wondering why my premiums have gone up then.
And mine.
Okay, and also, wasn't the head of the union? Didn't one of the biggest Obama supporters, Brad, come out and say that this will change the 40-hour work week forever?
You bet. Don't take my word for it. Jimmy Hoffa, head of the Teamsters. The union spent over $100 million in shoving Obamacare down our throats. Then they follow the Pelosi rule, they read the bill, and they find out it's terrible for union workers. As a matter of fact, let's quote Jimmy Hoffa, who said this will be the death knell for the 40-hour work week. It's unworkable. It hurts the workers of America. We're seeing it now. As you correctly point out, full-timers are going to part-time, and this is being destructive not only to new hires, but people who are currently working full-time. The unions are against it. They want a carve-out. They want a special exception, and they're threatening the White House now if they don't get it. They won't support candidates in 2014. Let's see what happens.
Well, it's so fascinating that we're still talking about Obamacare, and it's been the law of the land for 3 years already. Bernard and Brad, thanks so much for your time today. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks, Gretchen.